Hello everyone. Here we go. I have an update for you on this equine piece. So it's been a couple of weeks, or maybe 9 days. Okay, so it's been a week since my last video on this piece, but I have been ticking away at her. You may recall that my initial concept was the measurement of time before and after a certain moment in our lives, a pivotal moment. And that I was trying to build this up with differences. And when I took this piece to my critique group last week, they really didn't see that at all. We talked about some more about that concept and how it might present itself visually. And they agreed with my approaches to it, but they just weren't getting that feeling from the painting. And so we had a fabulous conversation about the significance of the artist's intention versus what the viewer reads, and is one more important than the other, and how does the artist respond to that if they become aware of during their process that their message isn't coming across. And so I brought this piece back to the studio and I really studied her for a number of days and slowly made small nitpicky kind of changes on her. But really continued to ponder that idea, like I have this concept that feels significant to me, but I'm not telling it properly. So how do I address that? And then also reminding myself that the whole impetus behind my paintings is to start with a concept and then allow them to become themselves. So am I shortchanging this painting if I allow her to go off in a different direction than what I originally intended? There was a good internal dialogue about that. So here she is now, and yes, you see a signature on her, but I'm not convinced she's totally done. She's going to go back to critique tomorrow, and we'll see where we stand. But what I think has happened here is that my original intention, which I still plan to pursue or explore some more, about the concept of that moment in our lives that changes us forever. That was the starting point for this piece. And then it got me to a midpoint where hope started to creep in. Despite what had happened, or in the midst of the chaos, there was a glimmer of something, and we have to trust it. Trust the universe enough to let that into us. And so I believe that's what this painting is now becoming about, is humans' nature, humans' adaptability in their response to circumstances, survival, moving forward. Let me bring you in closer. One of my favorite pieces, I've got lots of favorite spaces in this painting, is this eyeball. And if you're really getting close enough, it feels as though there's a reflection of a figure. Like the viewer is literally in front of this painting. It's painted literally in the eyeball itself. Really love that. I also love the wing right off of her forehead. I'm not sure it's going to stay as bright as it is or light as it is, but I think it's really significant. It's an important piece that breaks the expected form. Another thing that I really struggled with here was how literal to keep the horse. You know that is a constant struggle of mine. Probably deeply rooted in my representational painting roots or start. I feel like sometimes I have to start with the literal in order to get to the abstract, but sometimes along the way to the abstract or the expressive, the literal creeps back in. So I really debated and worked back and forth a lot on how much of the profile had to be perfect, or the throat latch, or the arch of the neck, how I could say just enough without overstating things. I'm not sure I quite found that balance, but I also think I could nitpick this painting forever. And that leads me to the next topic that I want to talk about, is knowing when you're done. So I say, you know, I think I'm done with her. I see a few minor things I want to change. But I also know that those changes are going to be minute in the whole scheme of the feel, the look, the impact of the overall piece. So how do I know when to stop? And I've gotten winks, multiple winks in the last couple of weeks. The same message about knowing when to stop. That being that you stop before you think you're done. So with that in mind, I am stopping, and I signed her, knowing that I can take her to critique tomorrow, knowing that in the morning I'll have a clear head. And perhaps I will come back with some concrete ideas. Perhaps my audience of critiquers will say, nope, you nailed this one. She doesn't need anything else. Or they may see something I don't that does need to be corrected. You know, sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees kind of thing. So I haven't titled her yet. I am pondering that, sitting here with my journal. But I thought I'd take a quick break and film this reflective video for you. I also want to show you the side. I've been doing this for a while, but they don't often get photographed on social media or shared anywhere. I have been tucking things into either the surface of the painting or on the side, and I thought it was particularly fitting that this piece include a cardinal feather. And I don't know that I'll necessarily market that as part of the image. I usually leave those side details for the collector to eventually discover on their own. But it's there, and it's significant to me that it's there, and that's what's important. So here you have it. The newest piece to come off my easel. Thanks so much for being here with me.